My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, I have a brief introduction to make today, but I promise I'll make it super quick and then we'll get into talking about the makeup. I've been doing a lot of pre-filming lately, so sitting down to film today, this is the first time I have filmed since the murder of George Floyd, and I will leave a link about that down below in case some of you aren't updated. Before I get into business as usual, I just want to say this: Black Lives Matter now. And they have mattered this whole time, and they will continue to matter after the urgency of this moment fades from social media. If you are a white American watching this, I appeal to you to make a pledge to yourself not to forget that. When you watch television, when you watch films, when you read books, when you scroll on social media, when you have conversations with your friends, when you interact with strangers, when you parent your children, when you vote, when you just sit and reflect on the world with yourself, carry it in your body that all Black lives are precious and they are under siege, and let that inform your actions. It can't just be a moment on social media, an intermittent moment. It has to exist. It has to be carried forward in our bodies, inside of each one of us. I'll leave some links down below. Please petition, please donate if you're able. But even if you're not able to donate, please take the time, sit with yourself if you haven't already done this, and think about what it will mean for you, what it will look like for you to carry the torch of this movement in your own heart. Carry it on, carry it forward. If you are new here, I am Hannah. I love beautiful things, but not at the expense of my financial health. So here on my channel, I share my love of beauty, but without normalizing overspending. If that sounds good to you, I hope that you will subscribe. In this video, I'm going to share the best drugstore makeup that I've ever tried. 6 great products. I'm not cheating with ColourPop or other drugstore priced non-drugstore makeup. I'm talking about 6 things that you can actually buy at drugstores, at CVS, at Target, etc. I'm excited to share my list with you. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. A quick caveat here at the beginning: I am not really a drugstore queen. In fact, it's an understatement to say that I'm not really a drugstore queen. I've tried a lot of makeup in my day, and the vast majority of it has been high-end. So I have had not as broad a sampling of drugstore products as a lot of people who are here on YouTube, and I'm just letting you know that my list has derived from a smaller sampling than maybe many of you have had and then a lot of people on YouTube have had. At the same time, because I have a preference for high-end makeup and I've tried much more high-end stuff and even some luxury stuff, a drugstore product has to be really, really good to impress me. The first product on my list is the Covergirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush, which I absolutely love saying. Clean Fresh Cream Blush, it just rolls off the tongue, but it's also kind of a tongue twister. I live. These blushes were given to me by my friend Lauren May Beauty. I feel like I talk about her in every video these days. She received the entire Clean Fresh line twice over because I think she got it at the launch party and then she also got it sent in PR. So she gave me all 4 of these blush colors. 2 of them are more pink. One's like a berry pink and one's a bright pink. I knew that I wouldn't like those colors, so I just gave them away untouched and unopened. Then I had these 2, Flushed, which is a really brilliant coral red. I had nothing like this, and definitely nothing like this in the cream blush department, so I decided to open this and try it. I decided to give away this one, Butterflies, which is like a slightly pinkish nude, like a deeper brownie pinkish nude. I knew that I would love the color, but I have other cream blushes in this color. So I was like, you know, I'll just keep the one that's a total standout in my collection. But I fell so in love with this formula that I pulled it out of my giveaway box and I decided to open it and try it. Then I fell in love with it too, so I actually decided to keep both of them. It layers so beautifully. It blends into the skin so beautifully. Many people who have reviewed this have said that they don't like that it's metallic because when you squeeze out the little dollop, you can see the metallic pigment, the reflective pigment in that intensified dollop when you squeeze it out. And then it's like, why? I remember people reviewing it and being like, why did they do that? Why didn't they just make a straight matte pigment in their cream blush and then people could highlight with whatever they wanted? But I love that quality, and I find that even though it's a little scary when you see how metallic it looks like on the back of the hand, when it blends out, it just blends out to look beautifully sheeny, almost like a very skin-like sheen. When I wear only this, it looks like I've mixed it with a liquid highlighter. It looks really gorgeous, but it also looks like a very skin-like natural highlighter, not like a metallic stripe or a see it from space type of highlighter. And there have been times when I've been editing my own footage where I was wearing this and I was like, oh my gosh, what highlighter did I mix with that? It looks so stunning. And then I remembered that I hadn't mixed it with a highlighter. It's just the way it looks. It looks very dewy. I think that it's pretty extraordinary that it has that quality and that it's also very blendable and buildable, doesn't get patchy, doesn't cling, and is being sold at the low drugstore price of I think something like $10. It might be less than that. I just feel like the quality outperforms a lot of high-end formulas of this type. I've been incredibly impressed by this. I would have included them on this list in any case, but I'm particularly eager to include them on this list because I know that this product got mixed reviews. So I just want to throw my hat in the ring and be like, it's not a mixed review from me, friends. It's an A+. Let's talk about another drugstore blush that's pretty much the total opposite of those because it's not a cream blush, it's a powder blush, and I've had it for way longer. I have had this since before my no-buy year, which means I've had it since before I started my YouTube channel, and I forgot to include it in the video about the makeup that I've had since before I started my YouTube channel because I have depotted it and turned it into a single. This is the iconic, the famous Apricot in the Middle. It's a Wet n Wild powder blush. It's one of their color icon blushes, and they aren't easy to depot. I had this before my no-buy year, and I had another one. I think I had Mellow Wine. This one went beautifully. I think it was very hot in my old apartment on that day, and so the glue had softened. I was able to pop it out without cracking it. Mellow Wine was completely destroyed when I tried to depot it. And I threw it away. There was nothing for it. There was no salvaging it. It just turned to dust. It cracked when I tried to get the pan out, and then it just devolved from there. That's just to say that in spite of this example of depotting, take care. These are the magnets that I stuck on the back. Take care if you decide to depot a blush like this. I would actually recommend warming the glue up by putting it in the oven for a little while, putting it on a radiator, a heater, using a hairdryer, something like that. Anyway, it's in amongst my singles. When I was filming that video about the makeup I've had since before my no-buy year, I forgot to go through my singles and I forgot to reference them in the video, but if I hadn't forgotten them, this would definitely have been in it. As you can see, I have significant pan on this. There were many years there during which this was my product of choice for the cheeks when traveling. Because it is now a single and it's magnetic, I can put it in a magnetic pan along with singles that are magnetic and create sort of like a custom travel palette. And I went to several tango festivals back in the day with this as my only cheek product. I would bring this and not even bring a highlighter because it's a slightly glimmery blush and it looks really beautiful in low light. And a lot of times when I'm putting on makeup for tango, that's what I'm putting on makeup for. So it adds that soft wash of shimmery apricot-y color. It also gives that gleam, that like highlighted gleam, looks beautiful also on the nose. It's also soft enough that I could even kind of bronze my neck up with it a little bit maybe on the chin. We have drifted apart. I think since the last time, I think I did take it with me the last time I traveled to a festival of that kind where I was just like really intentionally putting together a kit of makeup to take with me. And since then, I haven't used it and it has kind of fallen out of my memory. Like case in point, I forgot to put it in that video. I just forgot about it. There have even been some other videos where I was inventorying my blushes, talking about all my blushes, and I forgot to talk about the couple of blushes that I have that are in magnetic pans. So I haven't been spending very much time with it. And I recently pulled it back out and used it again because I was like, oh yeah, Apricot in the Middle, my old friend. And I was interested to find that I didn't love it as much as I used to love it. And that's because the shimmer in it is patently gold. And as I've tried more and more makeup and I've spent more time doing my makeup, more makeup playtime, my tastes have also evolved. But I think it's more to the point I've learned more about the spectrum of different kinds of makeup. I think back when this was like my favorite blush of all time, I wasn't a person who really made much of a distinction between like a gold shimmer running through a blush and a more champagne shimmer or a silver shimmer. Now when I apply it, I'm like, whoa, it's a gold shimmer blush. And I've learned that gold doesn't necessarily flatter me as well as other kinds of shimmer because I'm so very, very pale. That's not to say that it's not wonderful. I think one of the best things about this blush is the actual mill of the powder, like the fineness of the powder, the way that it disperses, how easy it is to apply, how difficult it is to mess up. Like it's just flawless all the time. So I don't think that it's not as good of a product as I did before. I think the Wet n Wild blushes are one of the best products at the drugstore that I've tried, and that's why it's making it into this video. Some of the best, most impressive, blow me away drugstore products that I've tried just in this past year have been the lash products from Milani. Why are these products not more hyped? I don't understand what's going on. I don't have the mascara with me, the Milani highly rated mascara. It's the one that has little gold stars all over it because I used it up and it wasn't empty, so I recycled the container. But that is the most impressive drugstore mascara that I've ever tried. I don't understand why L'Oreal Lash Paradise got so much hype when Milani highly rated already existed. I just don't get it. I think it's fantastic, and I think that it does everything that Lash Paradise claims to do, but more reliably and more dramatically. It was just to me, that's the dupe for Better Than Sex at the drugstore. Milani highly rated. I can't explain better what it does for the lashes than to say that to me it's a dupe for Better Than Sex. It's just, it has that big fluffy brush and it does that thing where you start putting on and you feel like your lashes are instantly enhanced. And then you can keep building it for like a really thick, goopy, spidery look if that's what you want, like me. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? But you don't have to do that. You can stick with that sort of fluffy, almost like dry, wispy, powdery volume. I was so impressed by that mascara and I was really sad when I used it up. And then I moved on to other mascaras, but I dug the Milani lash primer called the Violet one out of my backups box. It had been in my backups box for ages and I was just like, whatever, because I don't tend to get along well with lash primers. I find that what happens is that I'll put them on my lashes and even though they might add volume and add length, they cause the lashes to preemptively stick together. And then when I go back in with my other mascara, which is almost always some sort of lengthening, volumizing mascara, it's like it negated because the volumizing mascara itself doesn't have individual lashes to build on and stick to because they've all been clumped together by the primer. This, however, possibly stays a little bit wetter longer and also is a bit more flexible and soft. It doesn't turn into like a super crunchy hold. And I find that when I go in with other mascaras on top of it, it will kind of like work with them. And it's also really volumizing and really lengthening. So I've been able to get better looking lashes, more intense looking lashes with this underneath the Gucci mascara, for example, that I really love, and the Aaron's Faces mascara that I really love, than I'm able to get when I use those mascaras alone. So that's 3, and of the 3 that are left, 2 of them are lip products. So I'll knock the other one out first, and then I'll talk about the 2 lip products that are on my list. The other one is ColourPop Easy Breezy Brow, which I have had for a long time, but I just had it in my empties video and then I recycled the container. So I don't have it to show you, but it looks like any old brow enhancing pomade, I guess is what they're called. So it's very similar in every way to Glossier Boy Brow in terms of like the shape of the container, the way the little brush looks, the way that it applies. The difference for me is that Boy Brow doesn't hold my brows up. It'll look really good when I first put it on. It adds that nice layer of darkening pomade wax. It brushes them up. They look beautiful. They look fluffy. They look full. And then my stubborn brows will just fall back into place. They fall like a souffle if they're not being held in place by something strong, waxy and strong. And Boy Brow just isn't strong enough. It doesn't set. Enter CoverGirl Easy Breezy Brow. That's why I love it, because it feels soft and waxy, but it's very, very firm when it sets. And I also find that I can get it all over my brows, get them to be coated with it and looking fluffy and looking darkened with the product. And then I can go back in later after it's set, sometimes hours later, with a spoolie and kind of fool around with them and like comb them and push them back into place. And I can even do that thing where I press them down onto my skin and like paste them onto my skin. That's what I tend to do with the Patrick Ta. I find that the CoverGirl Easy Breezy Brow is kind of like that, but in a tube. It's not quite as versatile and powerful as the one from Patrick Ta, but it's good enough for me to be loyal to it and to believe that it deserves a place on this list. All right, let's talk about the lip products that are the best I've ever tried from the drugstore. One is a lipstick and one is a lip gloss, and if you know me, then you have probably already guessed at least one, if not both of them. The one that's maybe the most obvious, it's the Maybelline lipsticks. They're just so good. And I brought one of each. I have 3 Maybelline lipsticks. 2 of them are the matte formula, just Maybelline mattes. And the other is the bold or the audacious, audacieux. It has it in the French, bold / audacieux. Maybe it's audacieux. I bet that's what it is. Anyway, these are my 2 of my favorite lipsticks of life, my entire life, Maybelline Raw Chocolate and Maybelline Gone Greige. The colors obviously contribute to them being my favorites or them being some of the best products I've ever found at the drugstore, but it's the formula that I want to talk about because the formula is incredibly good. It's really, really nice and creamy, but it's still very matte looking. It doesn't feel matte on the lips. I prefer this lipstick formula to almost any matte lipstick formula I've ever tried. The smell, it's like a very light vanilla latte smell. To me, it definitely smells like some sort of coffee drink, like a sweet vanilla cappuccino or vanilla coffee drink, or maybe like fake vanilla syrup that goes into coffee. I don't hate it, but the smell's probably my least favorite thing about these. I feel like the color range is just very sophisticated of both of these, the Maybelline mattes and the Maybelline Audacieux, the bolds. I just think that this is like a true gem at the drugstore. Maybelline really hits it out of the park with their bullet lipsticks. And then the last one is a gloss that has really impressed me. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous, the gloss. I have it in 2 colors and I like this one better, the one called Blissed Out. It's like it doesn't look in the tube like it would be something I like because it looks pink with a gold flip, which is just not my jam for any cosmetics. But on the lips, it just like deepens my lips and makes them look really juicy and also makes them look more shiny. And then the other color that I have is Indulge in It, which is a deep, almost berry color. Again, in the tube, I'm always kind of like, maybe I can declutter it. Maybe I only need to keep the one that I like the best. But then when I apply it onto my lips, it's like this deep, juicy, my lips but better, and I can never bring myself to get rid of it. I feel like this is Charlotte Tilbury Bond Girl in a gloss. It gives my lips that same kind of bitten look. The thing, again, though, that's amazing about these, the colors are great, but the colors, you can find good colors in a lot of places. The thing that's amazing is the formula. It goes on almost like an oil. It doesn't feel oily. It's just, how an oil goes on pretty thin. It feels like a very thin layer of something, and it feels very slippy when you rub your lips together. It slips on itself rather than sticking. It's not gooey in the least. It is truly like a glaze, like a very, very thin, oily glaze, super comfortable, and yet it's much more tenacious than other thin feeling and slippy feeling lip products that I've tried. And also the colors are rich. The smell of these isn't the greatest. It's a little bit chemically. If anything, it's like a sweet vanilla or sweet candy smell that's trying to mask that chemical smell. I'm really, really glad that they didn't try to mask it with a fruit smell because there's something I really can't stand about that. Like a chemical smelling drugstore lip product that has like a fruit overlay to it sort of grosses me out. If there's just a slight bit of sweet vanilla introduced to it to try to balance it out, then I can handle that. I don't think about the smell of these when I'm applying it and I don't remember it. Like I didn't remember it at all and I had to smell it to try to remember. So it's definitely not intrusive enough to disturb the experience of wearing them. Basically, they look absolutely beautiful. They feel beautiful to wear. I find them pleasant to apply and distinctive. And they're some of the best lip glosses I've ever tried. So that's why they're making it into this video, because they also happen to be from the drugstore. And that is it. Those are the 6 best makeup products I've ever tried from the drugstore. I can't wait to read in the comments about your favorite drugstore products because I've had kind of a weird journey with drugstore makeup. I used to be afraid to put it on my face because I had such persistent and confusing acne. I felt like it was important for me to only put makeup on my skin if it had top quality ingredients in it. But over the past several years, I've kind of learned that most makeup has basically the same ingredients, drugstore and high-end. And so that's made me reconsider drugstore makeup, and I've kind of started experimenting with it. But I haven't bought that much and I haven't tried that much. And most of what I have tried is stuff that has just happened to come my way. So let me know what you love at the drugstore. Let me know what you think I would love at the drugstore, and maybe I'll do a little poking around and try some new things. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Black Lives Matter, you guys. Stay strong. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.